Welcome to the deep dive, where we take the sources you provide and really pull out the crucial insights fast.
Yeah, think of it as your express lane to getting properly informed, no overload, just those useful aha moments.
Exactly. And today, we're diving deep into a really foundational book in personal finance, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's right. Our listener wants to get a solid handle on financial literacy and, crucially, the mindset that goes with it. And this book, it offers a very powerful way to look at things.
It really does. You're looking for those key takeaways. You don't want to get bogged down. You want those light bulb moments.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad sets up this great framework contrasting the money philosophies of Kiyosaki's two dads.
You've got his biological dad, the poor dad, and then his friend's dad, the mentor figure, the rich dad.
And the core idea, the real engine of the book, is exploring this huge difference in what the wealthy teach their kids about money versus what the poor and middle class often learn.
Yeah, often radically different approaches. So we're going to unpack those differences and see how they, lead to such vastly different financial lives.
And the big question we're tackling for you today, based on the book and what our listener asked, is really, how could you take more control, real control, of your financial future? Okay, let's get into it.
So let's start right there with the contrasting beliefs of these two dads. Both were successful in their careers, earned good incomes,
Right, substantial incomes even.
but their financial outcomes, worlds apart. One, the rich dad, apparently left millions. The other, the poor dad, mostly bills.
It really shows that just earning a high salary isn't the answer, is it? It's about your perspective, how you think about money, how you manage it.
Absolutely. And their advice on money, education, risk, totally different.
Let's take an example, that phrase, I can't afford it.
The poor dad's default, Kiyosaki says. And the argument is, it just shuts your brain down. End of story.
But the rich dad, he apparently hated that phrase.
Hated it. He insisted on asking, okay, how can I afford it?
And that small shift, just changing the question, it forces you to think, to look for solutions, doesn't it? Instead of just hitting a wall.
Exactly. It's like exercising a different part of your brain. Then there's talking about money at home.
Oh yeah, big difference there too.
One dad, the rich dad, encouraged talking business and finance at the dinner table, saw it as vital education.
While the poor dad, well, he felt it was improper. Money talk forbidden during meals.
Which can create this sort of taboo, maybe even anxiety around money, right?
Okay.
It's not great for building financial confidence.
Not at all. And then risk.
The poor dad's advice was generally, play it safe. Avoid risk. Which sounds sensible on the surface.
Very common advice. But the rich dad,
Completely opposite. His mantra was learn to manage risk. She saw it as unavoidable, something you needed to understand and navigate intelligently.
you don't run from it, you learn about it. Okay, now this next one, this is where it really challenges conventional wisdom for a lot of people.
It really does. Their views on their own homes.
The poor dad believed, like so many people do, my home is my biggest investment, my greatest asset.
A cornerstone of the middle-class dream, right?
Absolutely. But the rich dad, he countered with, your house is a liability.
And if it's your biggest investment, you're probably in trouble.
Whoa. Okay, that needs unpacking. Why a liability?
Because of the definition Kiyosaki uses, it's super practical. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out.
So mortgage payments, taxes, insurance upkeep, all money flowing out.
Exactly. It drains cash flow. So from that perspective, it's a liability, not an asset. The rich dad focused relentlessly on acquiring things that generate income assets. That's the engine for wealth.
That's a fundamental shift. It's not about ownership, it's about cash flow direction. A real aha moment for many, I bet.
Definitely. And it ties into how they paid bills, too.
Right. The timing was different.
Both paid their bills, obviously, but the poor dad prioritized paying bills first, then seeing what was left.
Kind of the responsible thing most of us are taught.
Whereas the rich dad prioritized investing, building his assets first, then he paid the bills.
Which sounds riskier, maybe.
But the idea was it forced him to be creative, to make sure enough income was generated from assets to cover everything. It's a mindset shift about priorities.
Okay, and maybe the biggest disagreement, education.
Huge. Both valued it, but for totally different reasons. The poor dad pushed for good grades, a good degree, to get a secure, high-paying job, the traditional path.
Makes sense. Get the qualifications, do the job.
But the rich dad championed financial education, learning how money actually works, and critically, how to make money work for you.
That famous line, I don't work for money. Money works for me.
That's a complete paradigm shift. It changes your whole relationship with work and income.
So all these contrasts lead into the book's critique of our school systems, right? The lack of financial education.
Exactly. Kiyosaki argues that most of us learn about money at home, often from parents who might not be financially literate themselves. So we inherit this poor person's financial programming, as he calls it.
And schools. They teach academics, professional skills, which are important.
But not financial skills,
Wrong.
not how money really works. You can be a brilliant doctor or lawyer, top of your class, but still struggle financially.
Yeah, the book suggests this is why we see highly educated people in financial trouble. And it even raises questions about, the bigger picture.
Like national debt being influenced by financially illiterate officials making huge decisions, and the future of social programs like Medicare, Social Security, if millions need support and the system isn't well managed financially.
It's a worrying thought. How can a country thrive if financial education is basically left to chance?
Right. And this lack of formal training really sets the stage for the lessons Kiyosaki learned directly from his rich dad, those early formative experiences.
Like that toothpaste tube business. That's a great little story.
Yeah, it really captures that early entrepreneurial spark. He and his friend Mike collected old lead toothpaste tubes.
Lead. Wow. Different times.
Definitely. They planned to melt them down and mint their own nickels, which, was illegal.
Haha. Slightly flawed plan. But the lesson wasn't about minting coins.
No, it failed, obviously. But when Kiyosaki felt discouraged, like a failure, his own dad, the poor dad actually, gave him some crucial advice.
What was that?
He said something like, "You're only poor if you give up. The important thing is you did something. Most people just talk. You tried. Keep going. Don't quit."
That's powerful. Resilience. Taking action, even if it fails.
Exactly. And then there was that job working for 10 cents an hour at the local store.
10 cents. That sounds exploitative.
It was meant to be a lesson. Kiyosaki was furious, ready to quit. But the rich dad engineered it that way.
Why? What was the point?
When Kiyosaki complained, the rich dad challenged him, told him not to blame others, not to blame him, but to look at his own thinking. Was he the problem?
Ouch. Tough lesson for a kid.
But the point was to learn not to work just for a paycheck. To use his brain to find other ways to make money, not just demand a raise. It was about escaping the mindset of just being an employee.
So the low pay forced him to think differently.
Precisely. And it highlights that rich dad philosophy. Financial education isn't like school, where you graduate and you're done. It's a lifetime study.
Always more to learn about money.
Always. Which brings us to escaping the rat race.
Ah, yes, the rat race. That feeling of being stuck on a treadmill.
That experience of working for free for a bit after the 10-cent wage really drove this home for him.
Working for free. How did that help?
It made him confront the two emotions the rich dad said trap most people. Fear of having no money, and greed, desire for all the things money can buy.
Fear and greed, the drivers of the rat race.
You get up, go to work, pay bills, repeat, get a raise. You often just spend more. Bigger house, nicer car.
Still trapped, just maybe in a nicer cave.
Exactly. The key, the rich dad taught, is to use your head, not your emotions. Confront fear logically. He used the example of the store owner, Mrs. Martin, maybe staying in a job she disliked out of fear.
Instead of finding ways to build assets and gain freedom, it's a trap that can catch anyone, right?
Yeah.
No matter the income.
That's the argument. It's not about the economy usually. It's fear and ignorance about money that keep people stuck.
So understanding those emotions is step one. And step two is really grasping assets versus liabilities.
This is maybe the most important distinction in the whole book. We need to nail this down.
Okay, let's do it. Simple definitions again.
Super simple. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money OUT. It's all about cash flow direction.
And the rich focus on buying assets, things that generate income.
While the poor and middle class tend to acquire liabilities, often thinking they're assets like the house.
The book uses those simple diagrams, right? Showing the cash flow.
Yeah. For the poor, income comes in, immediately goes out for expenses. For the middle class, income comes in, goes out for expenses, plus it goes out to pay for liabilities like mortgages, car loans, credit cards.
Draining their cash. But the wealthy.
Their assets generate income. That income covers expenses, and the surplus buys more assets. It's a cycle of wealth building.
And that's why focusing on liabilities, like thinking your house is your main asset, can turn the American dream into a financial nightmare.
Exactly. It challenges those core beliefs. The book even mentions that Japanese idea of three powers: the sword, the jewel, and the mirror.
Right. Sword is force, jewel is money.
And the mirror is self-knowledge. The rich dad's point was, without the mirror, without financial understanding and self-awareness, people let the jewel, money, control them. They react emotionally.
So key question for you listening is, are your financial choices driven by understanding or by fear and desire?
That lack of understanding leads people to believe common myths. Your home is always a great investment. Saving money is always safe. Mutual funds are risk-free, the book says. Question everything.
Definitely question it, which leads to the idea of minding your own business.
And this doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow.
Right. What does it mean in this context?
It means focus on building your asset column. Your job gives you income, sure, but your business is your collection of income-producing assets. That's separate from your job.
So your profession is what you do. Your business is what you own that makes money for you.
Precisely. Keep the day job, especially at first, but dedicate time and money consistently to building that asset column. Every dollar you invest is like hiring an employee to make more money.
And luxuries. How do they fit in? Big difference there, too.
The wealthy, Kiyosaki says, buy luxuries last. They use the income from their assets to pay for the fancy car or the big trip.
Whereas the poor and middle class.
Often buy luxuries first, often on credit, to look rich, which just digs them deeper into debt. Build the assets first, then enjoy the rewards.
Delayed gratification. Makes sense. Okay, another big topic, corporations and taxes. This is presented as a key strategy.
Yeah, one of the secrets of the rich. The book challenges that Robin Hood idea that taxes primarily hit the rich. It argues the middle class often bears the biggest burden.
How so? Didn't taxes start by targeting the rich?
Initially, yes. But over time, the tax net widened. And the rich, the argument goes, learned to use structures like corporations much more effectively.
Corporations started as a way to limit risk.
Right.
Right. Like for risky sea voyage.
Exactly. Limited liability. But they also evolved to offer major tax advantages. A corporation is a separate legal entity.
And the advantages are?
Lower tax rates, potentially. And the big one, the ability to pay many legitimate business expenses before taxes are calculated.
So things like business travel, maybe some meals, education. If they're legitimate business expenses, they can reduce taxable income for the corporation.
Correct. The book also touches on things like Section 1031 exchanges in real estate, a way to defer capital gains tax when you reinvest. It's about using the rules legally.
So it's not tax evasion, it's tax avoidance through understanding the system, playing the game smart, using financial intelligence.
Exactly. Which leads to this idea that the rich can, in a sense, invent money.
Invent money. Okay, explain that. Sounds like magic.
Haha, not quite magic. It means financial genius isn't just technical skill, it's also courage, boldness. The book uses that story about Alexander Graham Bell and Western Union.
Western Union had the chance to buy the telephone patent, right? But they couldn't see the potential. Lack of vision.
Big missed opportunity. And Kiyosaki's cash flow game is designed to teach this kind of thinking, understanding how income statements and balance sheets work together.
The goal in the game is to get your passive income from assets to exceed your expenses, right? Escape the rat race.
That's it. So inventing money is about seeing opportunities others miss and structuring deals creatively. Like creating a promissory note that generates income in your asset column, maybe without immediate tax implications.
It's about creating income streams beyond just a salary.
Right. Instead of just working hard, paying high taxes on earned income, and slowly saving, it's about leveraging financial intelligence.
And to get that intelligence, the book highlights 4 key technical skills. What are they?
Okay, number 1, accounting. Basically, financial literacy. Can you read the numbers?
Got it. Number 2.
Investing. The science of making money.
3.
Understanding markets. Supply and demand, trends, knowing when to buy or sell.
And 4.
The law. Tax advantages, corporate law, protection. Knowing the rules of the game.
And mastering these is how you spot opportunities, like buying low in depressed markets, using those N31 exchanges, turning lemons into lemonade, financially speaking.
Exactly. What looks risky to someone without financial education might look like a great opportunity to someone who understands these 4 areas. You see opportunities with your mind, trained financially, not just your eyes.
Makes sense. But knowledge isn't enough. You have to act.
Absolutely. Action beats inaction every time. Failure is part of learning. The book talks about 2 types of investors.
The ones who buy package deals, like mutual funds.
And the ones who create the deals, the more sophisticated investors.
And for that second type, what skills are crucial?
Finding those overlooked opportunities, definitely. And raising money not just from banks, but creatively. getting other people to invest in your deals.
Like that story about the author who needed to learn sales.
Yeah, he was a great writer but couldn't sell. Learning sales skills transformed his income. Sometimes one extra skill makes all the difference.
So, advice for young people. Work to learn, not just to earn. Gain skills.
Especially skills related to business systems. Think McDonald's, it's not about the best burger, it's about the brilliant system. Understand systems.
And that idea of give and you shall receive, how does that apply?
Being generous with your time, knowledge, contacts, it often comes back to you financially. Building relationships.
Okay, so let's touch on those 10 steps to awaken your financial genius. Maybe highlight a few key ones.
Sure. Find a reason greater than reality. Have a strong why. Your dreams, your goals.
Makes sense. Motivation.
Make daily choices. Small, consistent actions add up. Choose friends carefully. Surround yourself with people who support your growth.
Important one.
Master a formula, then learn a new one. Keep learning financial strategies. And the big one, pay yourself first.
Always allocate money to your asset column before bills, if possible.
Right. Also, pay your brokers well if they make you money. Be an Indian giver, focus on getting your initial investment back quickly, then the rest is profit.
Getting something for free, essentially.
Yeah.
Return of investment, then return on investment.
Exactly. Use assets to buy luxuries eventually. Find heroes or mentors. And teach, and you shall receive. Sharing reinforces your learning.
It's a whole philosophy. And the main takeaway is that financial intelligence helps solve money problems, not just wishing for more money.
Right. Forget it takes money to make money. That's limited thinking. It takes financial intelligence. The book then mentions the 3 types of income.
Ordinary earned income, like from a job.
Portfolio income. From stocks, bonds, paper assets.
Passive income.
From real estate, royalties, businesses you own but don't actively run day to day.
That the rich focus on.
Portfolio and passive income. Making money work for them. That's the path to financial freedom, converting earned income into those other 2 types.
So investing isn't inherently risky if you know what you're doing. It's common sense, powered by education.
That's the core message. Take control of your education, make informed choices, build that asset column.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive on Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The big themes are clear. Financial education is paramount. Understand assets versus liabilities. Really understand it. Cultivate that proactive, opportunity-seeing mindset. And shift from working for money to having money work for you.
Yeah, it's definitely not a detailed how-to guide for every situation, but it's incredibly powerful for shifting your perspective. We really hope this dive gave you, our listener, that shortcut to the core ideas and sparked some of those useful aha moments.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. What's one small thing, one concrete action you could take today to shift your focus, even just a little, from just earning to really understanding how money works?
Or maybe what's one piece of financial common sense you've always believed that maybe, just maybe, you need to question after hearing this?
Lots to think about. We definitely encourage you to explore these ideas further, maybe even pick up the book and see what resonates with your own goals.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.